Introducing the Democrat, the self-proclaimed defender of democracy, reminding you every election year that this is the most important vote of our lifetime. Every lifetime. His laptop proudly wears a "Vote Blue No Matter Who" sticker next to "Coexist," though he hasn't coexisted peacefully with a Republican relative since 2016. His news diet? Late-night monologues and carefully curated outrage. He's pro-science, but doesn't know the definition of an adult female human being. He preaches tolerance, as long as everyone agrees with him. Disagree? You're not wrong, you're evil. His idea of activism is changing a profile picture and posting, "We must do better," before heading to brunch. He says he fights for the working class, though his last interaction with one was tipping 12% at a vegan cafe. Ah yes, the Democrat. Forever marching for progress, as long as it fits neatly between happy hour and a fresh latte.
Good morning, Patriots. How are you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri. I'm experimenting this morning. You probably won't notice it unless you're watching on the Facebook Patriot Mike Show channel. What do you think about if you're watching on your phone, you probably really like it. If you're watching on the computer, maybe not. I don't know. But StreamYard is allowing me to landscape or cell phone the image. So I cell phoned the image on the Patriot Mike Show channel. Just see what y'all think. On Facebook, the Patriot Mike Show channel on Facebook. If you feel like commenting, let me know or send me a message and let me know you like, you don't like, and we'll see how we do that. We'll go. It's an experiment. I'm experimenting. Anyways, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And the word of the day brought to us by Marine in the Woods, as presented by the Lord. I just saw it 2 seconds ago, and then jump, it went away. Let's see here. There it is right there. I had it queued up, but then it went away. So anyways, it says the word of the Lord today is 1 Samuel 17, 32 through 50. That's 1 Samuel 17, 32 through 50. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today, because God is good all the time, and all the time he is good. And lots of things happening, lots of things breaking. It's Friday, so you know what that means. I do want to mention this as you guys are logging on and as you're watching on the rerun. I do want to mention this because it was supposed to end last night at midnight, but their Black Friday doorbuster sales over at Nueva to get the stuff right here. Look, I'm down 30 pounds. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Y'all been watching me all the time, but I was 308 at the beginning of this year. So I've been taking these products, the Body, and now this product right here, which is the Snow Slim. I'm down to below 270. I'm below 270. Now that's insane to me. And the only thing I really changed is, as far as my eating habits, slightly on the I don't go around for a second time around the trough, if you know what I mean. But I did that at the beginning of the year, and I didn't really lose any weight. So here is couldn't hit you with a handful of corn. What I'm missing something there. Anyways, so if you want to know more about this product, what I was going to say, the Black Friday special that ended last night at midnight, where they're throwing in, if you purchase a couple bottles of this, they're throwing in either free coffee or free nitro and free shipping. The other thing is, I forgot to mention this about this. If you set it up on auto ship, like this special deal with the nitro thrown in, is permanent if it's on auto ship. As long as you keep that auto ship going, it will always be that price. note to self, if you're already buying the product, you can still jump in on that deal. It's for everybody. Here's the thing. They're continuing it to Monday. They're continuing the sale to Monday or while supplies last. They have nearly sold out. They have nearly sold out of the Slim. They've nearly sold out. This product is going gangbusters. Just think about that for a second. I've sold a lot. I looked at my numbers this morning. Thank you all very much. Some bills are coming due, like the mortgage, and Chris had some extra time off. We traveled a little bit. We spent extra money. Things were a little tight, and I was able to transfer enough money over to cover my bills. So thank you for that. That's a good deal. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that before I forgot to mention it as we get into things today. I might mention it later on when more people are on, but the sale ends Monday no matter what, or while supplies last. So if you're thinking about jumping in and getting in on the great deals that they're having, get yourself a couple bottles of this Snow Slim. I've lost, just taking this product, 10 pounds in 3 weeks. Just taking this product. And, but if you want to get in on that action, Mike will be getting another one of my paychecks. Oh, well, hopefully you guys can get one too. I'm just saying. Look, you are still in the ground floor of this opportunity. We now have hero products that are going to change the game for everybody. This is going to be a $1 billion product in 10 years. We'll have sold $1 billion worth of this product right here. This is it's so effective. It works so well. I've seen so many reports, and you can get a piece of that yourself. There's a time coming very soon where if you are a social marketer, people will be contacting you to find out how to get their hands on this product right here. I'm telling you, that time is coming. It happened in the old company with similar types of products. It'll happen again. All right, let's get started. Just wanted to put that out there so that you'll know. So the Babylon Bee yesterday, and I wish I'd had queued up this story yesterday when I saw it. I didn't realize how big I thought, oh, that's a burn. That hurts. So we know that Candace Owens hates the Jews. And we know that Tucker Carlson hates the Jews. Well, they don't hate Jews. They hate Zionists. They love the Jews. All two of them that they know personally. It's the synagogue of Satan ones they hate, which means they hate Greeks. But that's a whole nother story. The Jews are fine just as long as they stay the hell out of the Middle East and go back where they came from in Europe and the Soviet Union and China or wherever they're at. Anyways, so Megyn Kelly has pushed back on that for a little bit, but here in the last 2 or 3 weeks, she's jumped on the bandwagon of bashing the Jews and going after Charlie Kirk and all the rest of it. She's jumped on the bandwagon. It pays well, I think. I think she's seen that Candace Owens went to number 1 on Spotify. So, I mean, most of these people don't really have an opinion anyways. They just trying to make money. So the Babylon Bee came out and they said this, and people are mad. Megyn Kelly gets rid of old pager just to be safe. I was like, that's just ouch. Oh, I'm like, that's a hot one. I mean, you are, the good jokes and satire have to have a hint of truth. And there's a lot of truth around. That's just, and I thought, man, oh man. But the fallout that they had to delete it. They took down the post. I'm not echoing, am I? It seems to be working all right. They seems to have fixed whatever the problems were. Must have been the Must have been the harp turned up, causing all of the aurora borealis that was causing the problem. So anyway, if you're new to the show, don't take me seriously. Let's see here. So people are very upset about it. The Babylon Bee, run by Israeli first mega moron Steph Dillon and Joe Barry, published a call to murder Megyn Kelly and quickly deleted it. No, they didn't. I mean, the problem with America today, they need to get a little bit. They just need a little bit of, people can say anything they want to say, but they never were able to say it to people's face. It used to be a time when you could, remember the yo mama jokes? It used to be a time when we could insult each other and it'd be fine. They're calling for the death. No, they didn't. They made a hilarious joke that bashed Megyn Kelly and bashed the Jews and Israel and everybody else all at the same time. But we can't have that. We can't. We're sense of humor. No, everything. Oh my God, the Jews. I can see a little guy standing. The Jews. Jews in space. It's just insane. I mean, come on. Take a joke. Don't be the joke. Take the joke. The problem is we spend way too much time being the joke in this country. Too many people. Someone once told me that you needed to have thick skin and a soft heart, not soft skin and a thick heart. I've tried to live up to that. It's a funny meme, though. I mean, it did make me spit out my coffee as I was scrolling through and saw that. Marine says, yo mama's so fat she could sit on a quarter and squeeze a booger out of George Washington's nose. I mean, could you imagine? Just stop for a second and think about this for a second. Could you imagine if Rodney Dangerfield still did his bit today? Does it mean we could talk about chemtrails? You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Again, people, just make sure you know what you're talking about. That's all. And if you don't understand it, then it's faith. I remember Megyn crying the loudest with tears running down her cheeks when Charlie was killed. Yep. It is. That's another one. Yeah, Sam Kinison. That's another one that they couldn't deal with, because see, we're not allowed to have sense of humor anymore. No one's allowed to be funny. I try to be funny. Hopefully, I could create a laugh or two when you guys are watching me. But jeez, some of these people, just ridiculous. Let's see here. Oh. Sometimes life is hard. And when you're, how many of you have worked in retail and dealt with people? People are stupid. How many of you dealt with people that are just rude and obnoxious working in retail? When it was the worst place, Richard Pryor. Yeah. What about all of them? What about Richard Pryor? By the way, did you know Richard Pryor actually helped write Blazing Saddles? Megyn has proof that Charlie. I saw her proof. It was about a 2.1 second video. I need the bigger context. 2.1 seconds doesn't do it for me. You remember the meme? The meme, the cartoon, it's got the guy stabbing somebody. You've seen that meme? And then when you pull out, the guy's actually running from the guy stabbing him. When you go 2.2 seconds, when Candace Owens puts out 3 parts of a text message, you don't get the broader view of what they're talking about. It's the same way as it's the same way as people saying, taking out to the verses out of context in the Bible. It's the same thing. You can't do that. So here's this guy. Well, all of Mel Brooks' movies were classic, by the way. I mean, it wasn't just Blazing Saddles. They were all. Look at the size of those knockers. They were all irreverent. Just, anyways, moving on. This guy right here. This is sometimes when people give you energy, you got to give the energy back.
What up, man?
What's up, bro? Hey, man, I got 50 cents, bro.
You want a straw too?
Shit, man. Something. Appreciate you, bro. Give me a whole pack this time.
You need a what?
$10 bill.
You need a $10 bill for this?
Yep.
There you go.
What the hell? How much is it?
Damn.
Get the chips.
Here you go.
How much is it?
Oh, 50 cents, bro. Thank you, man. There you go. What's going on, man? That's 50 cents, bro. Okay. There you go. Have a good day, bro.
Sometimes you just got to give the energy you get, Anybody ever worked retail and had to deal with people like that, just disrespected you? Did you see the look on a couple of those guys' faces, like, why you disrespected me like this? Well, you started the disrespecting. You so cool, throw your money at me. So, have you heard the news? Breaking news. This is New York Post reporting. Eric Swalwell is now been referred to the DOJ for mortgage fraud. You remember I told you. I didn't realize I still had that banner up. Let me get rid of that. Remember I told you that this Adam Schiff, by the way, still brought charges against Adam Schiff. He's just hanging in the wind out there, just flapping in the wind out there. Oh, Adam Shifty Schiff. And I think that's intentional. I think they're going to start slow rolling these referrals to get people all upset. Because I said, with the mortgage fraud deal with Adam Schiff, they're all doing it. They all have multi-million-dollar homes inside the DC Beltway area, and they've all claimed them as their permanent residence. And therefore, they are either committing mortgage fraud or they're unconstitutionally holding their position. Remember I said that. And it's way more than 2. But breaking news, Representative Eric Swalwell's $1.2 million DC home target of DOJ mortgage fraud criminal referral. Eric Swalwell, Democrat, California, who cheated on his wife with a Chinese spy, was hit with federal criminal referral for alleged mortgage and tax fraud related to the purchase of a $1.2 million home in D.C. that he claimed was his primary residence, the Post has confirmed. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pullett on Wednesday, in a Wednesday letter to Attorney General Pam Bundy, requested an investigation of Swalwell based on allegedly false and misleading statements he made about the purchase, NBC News first reported. The California Democrat was able to secure millions of dollars worth of loans and refinancing based on the primary residence declaration in D.C., a source familiar with the referrals said. Notice how none of these stories, I don't know, I haven't read this all the way through, they might end up saying it, but none of these stories talk about the constitutionality of living in D.C. as your permanent residence while being a representative or a senator. The designation could constitute mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, state and local tax fraud, among other charges, the source noted. In addition to the Department of Justice criminal referral, FHFA Inspector General is probing the alleged mortgage fraud. As the most vocal critic of Donald Trump over the last decade, and the only person who still has a surviving lawsuit against him, the only thing I'm surprised about is that it took this long to come after me, Swalwell responded in a statement. Like James Comey, John Bolton, Adam Shifty Schiff, and Lisa Cook, Loretta St. James, and dozens more to come. I refuse to live in fear. I refuse to live in fear of what has once the freest country in the world. Well, added the California congressman, who is now the fourth Democrat official to be targeted for mortgage fraud by the Trump administration. Oh, say that's his $1.2 million home right there. Isn't that special? Such a lovely guy. Of course, I will not end my lawsuit against him, and I will not stop speaking out against the president and speaking up for Californians while I live in my D.C. mansion. Senator Adam Shifty Schiff, Democrat, California, New York Attorney General Loretta St. James, and Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook have all faced criminal referrals from Patriot based on allegedly false statements they made about second homes or rental properties being their primary residence. Now, let me just say that James and Cook are different circumstances. If they committed fraud, they committed fraud. But understand that James and Cook aren't unconstitutional. Aren't unconstitutional when it comes to where you lay your head, especially Cook. Now, James probably got to live in her district, but there's nothing in the Constitution about that. Maybe New York's Constitution, I don't know, for James. But Lisa Cook, there's nothing. She can live wherever she wants. But they're all committing mortgage fraud, and they're not the only one. They're not the only one. There's more to come in this story. Trust me on this. This is just the very, very beginning, the tip of the iceberg. The referrals indicate the misrepresentations may have granted each more favorable loan terms, rules for thee, but not for me. Representative, excuse me, that's not where I wanted to go. Let's see. Where we go? Here we go. On October 9th, a federal grand jury handed a criminal indictment of James. Okay, they're just going to go into the other stuff. I don't want to talk about it. So I don't want to go. Really, that's a very small place. I'm just saying, I got a bigger yard than that. I'm just, I'm glad I don't live in the big city. Just saying. I'm just saying. But there's more to this story. Now, I'm going to tell you the same story. I don't usually repeat the same story, but this is from Zero Hedge. And the headline, y'all are going to love the headline from Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge reporting, Swalwell, bears fangs after Pollitt refers to DOJ for criminal mortgage. So Swalwell bears his fangs. I see what you did there, Zero. Representative, and look at the picture they used. Isn't it wonderful? Let me just remind you, for those you don't know, this is a Chinese spy. Her name was Fang Fang. She had an ongoing affair with Representative Eric Swallowell, who's a married man with children. And the wife, stand by your man. Yep. Eric Swallowell is super pissed after Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pullett referred him to the DOJ for criminal prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud. On Thursday, Swallow lashed out, saying in a statement, as the most vocal critic of Donald J. Trump over the last decade, my Trump derangement syndrome led me to have an affair with Fang Fang, the Chinese spy. I mean, he didn't say that. I added that part. And as the only person who, I already read all that. Anyways, I couldn't resist the headline. Swallowell, I call him Swallowell because I don't know, just fits. I'm just saying, if you have an affair with a Chinese spy and you're in Congress, have you ever been to the back office chambers of the Senate? IG Swallowell. Swallowell bears fangs after Pullett That's really good. And then they used the picture. By the way, so Fang Fang got found out to be a Chinese spy, and she ran over the Chinese consulate, and they shipped her back home. Probably gave her a medal or something. How much information did Fang Fang get out of, while Fang Fang was performing services, what kind of information was he getting? I'm just saying. I don't know. Somebody's probably going to post something bad about me now because I'm talking about their favorite people, like they did, like the Babylon Bee. I call him Fartigus. Yeah, that's another one. He did have a habit of, but at least he's not Jeffrey Toobin. I'm just saying. You all know the story of Jeffrey Toobin, like, right? During the Rona, Jeffrey Toobin was Toobin his Toobin. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. They had a Zoom call. He had the lotion sitting there and everything. Oh, turn the camera off if you're going to do that sort of thing. I mean, you couldn't wait a few minutes till anyways. That was a good time. By the way, he's back on whatever it is, CNN or NBC. I don't know which channel he's on. Don't care. They suspended him for like a year. Okay, here's a new one. So judge allows prosecution of New Jersey Democrat Representative McCleaver on assault charge to proceed. Nothing ever happens. No one's going to justice. And here we have the happenings. It's kind of like The Jerk. That's another good movie. Nothing ever happens. No one's going to jail except that they're going to bring charges. A grand jury against Adam Schiff. Nothing ever happens. But Loretta James has been charged and nothing ever happens. I don't need anything. I just need someone to be charged. But like John Bolton, nothing ever happens. Now they're coming after Eric Swalwell, but nothing ever happens. Y'all get the reference with The Jerk, right? Anyways, moving on. I couldn't help myself. It's Friday. We can have fun, right? Talk about movies. Back when movies were good. I finally found my special purpose. A federal judge on Thursday allowed the prosecution of New Jersey Democrat Representative LaMonte McCleaver on an assault charge to proceed. McCleaver sought to dismiss her case, claiming the Trump administration was selectively and vindictively prosecuting her for allegedly assaulting agents while at an immigration facility in May. U.S. District Judge James Simper, a Biden appointee, denied the dismissal that McCleaver requested. She has pleaded not guilty. Defendant has failed to offer clear evidence that the charges in this case had discriminatory effect. Thus, her claims of selective enforcement and prosecution must fail, Semper wrote. The judge ruling largely rejected McCleaver's argument that she is immune under the Constitution's speech and debate clause. Yeah, you are immune. You could say anything you want to say. You can even go out and say there, LaMonica. You could come out and say today that Megyn Kelly should delete her pagers. Yeah, but you could say it. You could get away with saying that under the speech and debate clause because you can't be charged with that. But I think that ends when you start assaulting officers of the law, federal officers of the law. The judge ruling largely rejected McCleaver's as immune under the speech and debate clause, which protects lawmakers for what they say or do as part of the legislative activities. But that doesn't include assaulting police officers. Semper said that we would rule on the defense later for one of the three counts. So the trial must go on. She tried to get it kicked out, but it's not getting kicked out. And then there's that's not the one. I thought I had one on James too. There was a story on James. What happened to that one? Let's see here. Let's see if I can't. I might have deleted out of it real quick. Let me see. Pete XX, America's biggest. Nope, I don't have it. Okay. Well, I had a story on James too. There's movement on the James front too. She tried to have some stuff dismissed. Not dismissed. You are not dismissed. Then there's this story. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. The stock market's down. Dow Jones Industrial Average, after hitting record highs last week, is down 569 today. Nasdaq's down 116. SP 500 is down 50. Gold is down 114 to 40.79. Silver is down $2.42 to $50.74. And things are starting to happen. The Fed has come out and said that they may have to, start purchasing bonds. What does that mean? That means that when they issue the bonds, no one wants to buy them because America's fallen apart. And so the Fed has to buy the bonds. One of these things is not, we're all going to be billionaires when the Fed starts purchasing the bonds. We're all going to be billionaires. It's going to be great. Here's some interesting stories that are out there today. This is, right here. Here's the story, purchasing bonds. Yep. It says, breaking news, New York Federal Reserve president says Federal Reserve may soon start buying bonds to manage market liquidity. Yep. As the world turns. That's not good. And over in China, this is interesting. Just interesting. Chinese tech company has been rewarding its employees with gold keycaps as a bonus. The heaviest keycap is worth $45,000. Again, the East and West view gold entirely different ways. The West is slowly catching up. Store of wealth. That's happening too. So that will be interesting to see where it comes up there. Here is Speaker Johnson is pissed off now. Thomas Massey didn't vote for the bill to end the shutdown because they put in there the ban on THC and a bunch of money for senators, and they're upset about it. There's a bunch of fallout about this. So will that ignite inflation? Yes. And I meant to go, thank you for the question, because I meant to go deeper into this and I didn't. So the Fed was designed to manipulate the money, right? They want to get inflation to 2%. That's their target goal. The problem is the only mechanism they have is to print money or not print money. The debt is $38 trillion. It's about $1.5 trillion a year in interest where it sits right now. If money becomes harder to get, i.e., if they raise interest rates, so money's harder to get, interest rates go up, the debt service goes up. Understand, we only take in about $4 trillion. We're at 1.5. We get to 2, we're at $2 trillion that we could spend. We're spending $8 trillion. That means $6 trillion of it is borrowed. That means that just doing that math, if the interest rates go up just a little bit, that means we'll add $6 trillion to the debt next year, which means we'll probably go to $2.5 trillion in interest payments by next year. Well, you keep that going, and pretty soon you're at $4.5 trillion in interest, and now you're borrowing everything. So what do? Well, they got to keep the interest rate down. How do they keep the interest rate down? They start buying the bonds. The bonds are what set. So they go out here. We got 10-year T-bonds. We want to sell right now. Let me just scroll here and look. Well, I got the bond right here. 10-year bond right now, $4.11% right now. So they're selling the 10-year bonds for 4.11%. And they put them out there on the market. Goes 4.11. No one wants to buy 4.25, 4.5, and on and on and on. It's an auction. The difference is that it's a reverse auction. It's the interest rate that you're auctioning, so that what it costs to sell that bond, what it costs to service the debt. So what the Fed does is if it starts spiking 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, buy. The Fed starts buying the bond at the rate they don't want it to go anywhere above. And that's adding liquidity to the marketplace, keeping the interest rates. They're trying to keep the interest rates down. The problem is now you have inflation. So you can't have both. You can't have both. We're at the point right now where you can't stop the inflation, because if you stop the inflation, the interest rates go up. And if the interest rates go up, then you can't pay the debt. And if you can't pay the debt, it causes the market to crash, which causes more inflation. So you're in a death spiral of bad decisions. And all of the prognosticators of the gold and silver bugs are out there saying we're going to go through one more round. Economic Ninja has been saying this. We're going to go through one more round of spending, of printer press go, and that's going to be the final round and lead to the collapse. That's what they're saying. And I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. He says, good morning, Mike and Patriot family, with a tip jar contribution, the little dollar sign down at the bottom. I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot. So here they are. They're upset about this deal because the Republicans or the Democrats or whoever it was added in what I think were poison pills designed to shut it down, designed to get Republicans not to vote for it in the House. Here we go.
I think so many of us are very angry about this, including the Speaker. He and I sat on the House floor last night and talked about this and the background of it before he gave his speech about reopening the government, brief speech, and so proud to get the government reopened. To be honest with you, seriously considered voting against the bill last night, but of course I didn't want to continue what the Democrats have done of inflicting pain upon everyday Americans. The Democrats have made clear that they're not the party of the American people. They're an America Last party at this point. And so we needed to get to end 6 weeks, the longest shutdown in history, that accomplished nothing other than causing suffering for our military, for our air traffic controllers, for hungry Americans that need food assistance. And so proud to vote to end that. But now we have to finish the business of of repealing this dirty backroom deal that some of these senators were involved in doing. And frankly, they should just step forward today. And I call on all of them to step forward today and repudiate this and declare that they won't seek these millions of dollars that'll be paid for and come out of the pockets of hardworking Americans who've already suffered enough.
So, by the way, Thomas Massey could introduce a bill today and cancel both those things. And there's vote on it, done. Will he? No, probably not, because he wants the argument. None of these people want to fix anything. They just want to argue about them. You know, if you want to argue about policy, become a pundit like me. That's my job. You should be doing policy. Speaking of policy, Dan Bongino put out a statement. He is not. He put out a statement to Congressman Massey. Dan Bongino. I bet Dan Bongino could whoop Massey's butt. What do you think? Congressman Massey, when Director Pell and I entered on duty in our leadership positions in the FBI, we had our hands full, but we were happy to be a part of the president's team, and we still are. Despite the multitude of challenges we faced, one of the first initiatives was to aggressively pursue a new strategy to investigate the January 6th pipe bomb terror attack. We brought in new personnel to take a look at the case. We flew in police officers, and I remember them announcing that, and detectives working as TFOs, task force officers, to review FBI work, conduct multiple internal reviews, held countless in-person and SVTC meetings with investigative team members. We dramatically increased the investigative resources, and we increased the public award for information in the case to utilize crowdsourcing leads. This is only a small sample of the work the FBI personnel leadership team have put into this critical investigation. When I spoke with you yesterday, a little after 8 a.m. Eastern Time, screenshots attached, I offered you an in-person brief on our work. We spoke for 10 minutes. I called you back a bit after 7:30 Eastern Time to again make that offer. You didn't answer, and you have yet to call me back. Despite this, you continue to imply that the director and I are targeting investigators in the case. This is disgusting, even by the low standards many have for politicians. You know my number. You're free to call me anytime. But it's easier to tweet and throw BS bombs. That's right. Trying to cause damage to Trump. Thomas Massey was a never Trumper and always will be. Anybody aligned with Trump, he's against. Yes, our leadership team will be meeting with FBI team members today, and we will avail them of all the whistleblower resources they need to disclose any evidence of malfeasance in the prior administration, and we will ask about threats that may have gone unpulled under prior leadership, because we are passionate about solving this case. But a week of near 24-hour work on recent open source leads in the case has yet to produce a breakthrough, and some of the media reporting regarding persons of interest is grossly inaccurate and serves only to mislead the public. So this story about this cop may not be accurate, according to Dan Bongino. I proudly serve in this administration. I proudly work for Director Patel to reform and advance the crime-fighting and national security missions of the FBI. We would love to have you as a partner in this mission rather than a dog barking behind the fence. And so he gives the receipts. And this is his post right here. I received troubling letter today from the attorney representing the most recent FBI whistleblower regarding the J6 bomb investigation. Just a reminder, FBI Director Cash, in case this letter is warranted, federal law prevents retaliation against whistleblowers. So he's accusing Kash Patel and Dan Bongino of retaliating against whistleblowers. Anyways, yes, well, that's not good, man. But we all know who Thomas Massey is. We all know what Thomas Massey does. Thomas Massey elevates Thomas Massey, and everybody else be damned. That's what he does. That's what he's about. Here's another one too. Yesterday, and probably today too. I don't know. I haven't looked, but my guess would be it's probably still going on. But Bitcoin falls and falls and falls. Bitcoin falls under 99,000 yesterday. And of course, you know, if Bitcoin goes to zero, what do you got? If gold goes to zero, you still got the gold. Well, it's not worth anything. It'll always be worth something. I love it when Mike, I haven't looked at the chat. I have no idea what y'all are talking about. I'm sorry, I was reading. So, anyways, I'm scrolling now. You guys are talking about coffee and honey for some reason. I have no idea. Sorry. Y'all keep chatting away. Do your thing. I'm going to do a show here.
Or that we broke early.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Then there's this story, by the way. Let me pull that off screen. So I'm making all kinds of doggone noise. Did you see that Pete Hegseth was out there changing the Department of War?
There we go.
So it's now, we're weird, Mike. Well, this is probably true. This is what some reason you watch my show. So did y'all see this? I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit because I something interesting to me. So this is Blue Origin launching
Lift off effective. Confirmation.
You're going to have clear the valve.
and then of course
Ignition. And we have winning burning ignition.
this is the reusable rocket copying Elon Musk. I'm just fast forward it. They landed on a barge out the ocean. Copying Elon Musk. Yay. Woohoo. Bravo. You know, but here's the thing about this that I found interesting. This is the thing. Prior to Elon Musk landing these rockets, catching the one rocket, you know what I mean? Prior to that happening, it was impossible to do. China had been working on it. Japan had been working on it. Russia had been working on it. France had been working on it. The United States spent billions trying to perfect a reusable rocket that would land itself. And they couldn't do it. And then Elon Musk did it, and now everybody's doing it. You know, 440, that's been the gold standard of running, right? 440. They talk about it in the NFL, you know. 440. You talk about it track and field, 440. I don't remember when it was, but probably near 100 years ago now, the first person to hit that mark Everybody said it couldn't be done. It was physically impossible for a human being to do that until somebody did. And then after that, it became the standard. And over again, that mark was hit. You see, the thing about innovation is that it's impossible till somebody does. And then once somebody does it, everybody can do it because it clears out that mental block out of their brain. You have a mental block in your brain that says that can't be done, so don't do it. And that's where a lot of us are in our lives, why we've plateaued in our lives, why we can't achieve things greater than we are now is because we've blocked it. We don't even know this happened. And this is a perfect example of that because this self-landing craft was impossible until it wasn't impossible. Think about that for a minute. And now everybody's doing it. The Russians have done it. The Chinese have done it. But it was because Elon Musk, who was able to not have that block in his head, said, we could do this. We could figure this out. Who hired a bunch of people that said, we could do this. We can figure this out. And the world changes just like that. That's just something I noticed when that happened. Here is some new breaking news from John Solomon, Just the News, about Hillary Roberts Clinton. Let's hear the story.
Let me turn to a story that we broke earlier this week. We told you, I think on Monday night, we broke it on the show, that the FBI had transmitted new documents to Congress on the Clinton Foundation, new examples of alleged corruption that occurred there and efforts to thwart the investigation of the Clinton Foundation. Some of those documents also involved efforts to investigate the Clinton campaign's funding of the Steele dossier. Well, today we learned in new documents that my good colleague Jerry Dunleavy just put up that the Justice Department under Joe Biden was trying to use Special Prosecutor Jack Smith to scuttle any FBI or DOJ investigation into the Clinton campaign's funding of the Steele dossier. Why is that news? Well, first off, we didn't know that they were criminally interested in investigating Hillary Clinton's campaign for that funding. But two, we now tied together Jack Smith's investigation to Russia collusion. Now you begin to understand why FBI Director Kash Patel said he thought it was a grand conspiracy, that all these things to get Trump are connected, from Jack Smith and Lois Lerner in 2014 at the IRS, to the Russia collusion, to Ukraine impeachment, to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, to Jack Smith's investigation. And it turns out that Jack Smith has a direct connection to Russia collusion now in these new documents. More over at justthenews.com on that.
That's assuming, Shirley, that we haven't went to the moon. I don't know. And then Carol says, sounds like stolen technology if for decades you couldn't be done and then bam. But you missed the point. Let's go back in time. You see, this is part of it too. Have you ever bought a car and you're like, I'm the only one that has a car like this, and then you leave your driveway and every other street there's another car coming by exactly like yours? You see, because you have a bias until what you're missing out on is how many times did Elon Musk blow up a rocket? How many times did they fail launching the rockets and landing the rockets? If you go back, there's YouTube videos of it. I remember watching it over and 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 over again. You failed. They failed over again. All of a sudden, success. I hope one of these days they'll say Patriot Mike is an overnight success. He's on a big network and he's getting paid all this money. He's overnight success. And many of you will say, no, I was there at the beginning. He's been doing this a long time. That's the way most things are. Nobody notices. That's an overnight success. You know, my friend John Melton, who got me into Nueva, he got me into the other company too. He's an overnight success, multi-millionaire. 10 years he was in this industry before he made $100,000 a year. Another 5 years after that before he made his first $1 million. So 15 years for an overnight success. Most of the time, these overnight successes are not overnight successes. You know, it's kind of like, hey, well, Patrick Mahomes makes 300. He's not, by the way, you know, Patrick Mahomes not even top 10 in earners in the NFL anymore. He's an overnight success. He's been playing football since Pee-wee. Put in a lot of work to get to this place. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, these overnight successes are not overnight success. And it's the same thing with these rockets. Yeah, they worked on it until they had a breakthrough, figured it out. Because it's not failure. It's not failure. It's not failure unless you quit. It's just, okay, we found another way not to do it. They ripped off Elon's patents. A patent, you guys put way more faith into a patent. A patent doesn't make it work. A patent just guarantees your intellectual property. There's patents on the internal combustion engine, but there's probably 200, maybe 2,000 patents on the because they're all different. Do it a different way. You do it a different thing. It's not rocket science. Oh, yeah, it is. Patents are, you know, they used his design. Who? No, they were almost there too. It's maybe they all stole each other's designs. I don't know. But my point is, and you got to accept this because this is reality. And Gail says, yep, 100 ways not to make a light bulb. That was Einstein, who, by the way, did steal his technology. Actually, didn't steal it. He bought it. But that's another story. Not Einstein, Edison. Edison, wrong guy. Sorry about that. You're probably already correcting me. Breakthroughs happens, and then it becomes, oh, we can do this. It happens all over the world. We're talking about Hillary Clinton, and we're talking about how the new information coming out. Here's one. This is, let me just give you, this is new Comey email released by USA Lindsay Holligan in the Comey prosecution shows how he desperately tried to clear up Hillary Clinton's mess days before the 2016 presidential election. Now, John Solomon's got stuff where they were trying to cover up for Hillary. Now there's this. It says you are both right. And he nailed the line position I found myself in. He nailed, the position I found myself in. The team comes to me yesterday and says there are 600,000 emails on Wiener's computer, and they include 10 years. Now, wait a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. Sidney Powell came out with this way back in 2020, and everybody laughed at her, called her a conspiracy theorist, put on the tinfoil hat, there's nothing there. Here's James Comey in a memo talking about his catch-22 with Hillary Clinton because he wanted the gig when Hillary Clinton became president. 600,000 emails on Wiener's laptop, and they include 10 years of Huma Aberdeen emails, including emails with HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and that metadata shows are from line missing BlackBerry domain used. For the first months of Secretary Clinton's tenure at state, appears Uma did not know her stuff was backed up on his computer. What am I going to do? I got to authorize the work and correct the record with Congress. Imagine what I would have done to what it would have done to my institution if I didn't do both of those things. Not hard to call, although I hate having to do it. In other words, he needed to order them to shut down the investigation into Hillary Clinton, because if this got out, and he needed to correct the record with Congress, because if this got out, it would destroy Hillary Clinton's chance of becoming president. $600,000 emails of now. What did City Pal say? There were emails on Wiener's laptop that they were so disgusting and so terrible, they made these seasoned veterans officers go out and puke. So if one is true, the other is probably true too. And I've been telling you for several weeks now that Anthony Weiner's laptop is in play. Anthony Weiner's laptop is in play. We keep hearing about the laptop. It keeps popping up here and popping up there and popping up here and popping up there. Anthony Weiner's laptop is in play. Maybe the first say that Anthony Weiner didn't kill himself.
Breaking just moments ago, Fox can now
Here is breaking on the mortgage, the Fang mortgage deal.
Breaking just moments ago, Fox can now confirm that California Democrat Congressman Eric Swalwell has been criminally referred to the Department of Justice, accused of mortgage fraud. Senior White House correspondent Peter Ducey reporting live on this breaking news on Eric Swalwell from the North Lawn. Hey, Peter.
Martha, as I was walking up here to do a hit on a different topic, I got a call from an administration official filling us in that Eric Swalwell, the Democratic California congressman, has indeed been referred to the Justice Department by Bill Pulte, who is the head of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac right now, because he is accused of making false or misleading statements on a mortgage application. We believe that this pertains to a $1.2 million house that Swalwell has in the Washington, D.C. area. Swalwell has already responded. Part of his very long statement says, as the most vocal critic of Donald Trump over the last decade, and as the only person who still has a surviving lawsuit against him, the only thing I am surprised about is that it took him this long to come after me. Like James Comey and John Bolton, Adam Schiff and Lisa Cook, Letitia James, and the dozens more to come, I refuse to live in fear in what was once the freest country in the world. Now, Swalwell has not been charged with anything. This is a criminal referral. Basically, a government agency thinks that they spotted something that is possibly illegal on mortgage documents from Swalwell. The Justice Department will now review these documents to see if a prosecutor believes that charges are worthy in this case, and then we would go from there in the judicial process. Martha.
Yep. So it's starting to get a little bit deeper, a little bit more. Now I have there's more on Hillary Clinton. I got to scroll to get to it. A lot more stuff on Epstein. A lot of stuff happening on the Epstein front, because that whole narrative they tried to create completely and totally collapsed on them. Just absolutely disintegrated on them. It got really bad. Let's see. I know I got it right here. Is this it? Now, this is it right here. Check this out. It says, this is the DOJ and FBI have given Chuck Grassley some dastardly emails and internal memos, Clinton campaign, Perkins fusion, GPS, DNC nexus of corruption. The emails appear to show that Cooney of USADC and Pillager of DOJ stopped investigation steps into the matter. But before that, a plucky FBI agent took out an opening EC on the matter and reached out to DOJ, DC, U.S. Attorney's Office, and Treasury, blah, blah, blah. So there was stuff going on in 2015, 2016. It says, or the highlighted part says, emails obtained by my office with the subject line Campaign Legal Center Complaint appear to show that Cooney and Pilger stopped investigation steps into the matter in email exchange spanning from June 15, 2019. Oh, so this was after the election, to June 21, 2019, between FBI agents Pilger, Cooney, and Anna Lou. The FBI agent asked questions as to why the Clinton campaign's fusion GPS DNC matter did not make a good candidate to open an investigation, given the appearance to be unambiguous concealment by the DNC and Clinton campaign for payments related to production of the Steele dossier. Russia. Yep. So the FBI squashed the investigation into all of this. Just squashed it down. And there's a little bit more. A little tiny bit more on this right here. Here is Newsmax reporting on the corruption Clinton Foundation story, where they're talking about criminal charges to the Clinton Foundation.
A document shows how Bill and Hillary Clinton's foundation collected donations from foreign and domestic interests seeking influence. The documents, now being dubbed as the Clinton corruption files, make it clear that there was an effort to obstruct legitimate inquiries into the foundation by blocking real investigation by line-level FBI agents and DOJ field prosecutors and keeping them from following the money. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel hope to make all the documents public by the end of this week. And I know so many people, including you, Chris, I'm sure, will love to comb through these documents. I will say there's also Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is supposed to get his hands on these documents. He has, of course, a lot on his plate with Arctic frost, everything else. But I'm happy to see that they're taking this up, and maybe we even get a hearing or two there, don't you think?
Well, it would be very nice. It's long overdue. In Washington, D.C., sometimes these things go on for decades on end before anybody raises an eyebrow. But the Clintons and their nefarious goings-on have been well established for a long time, going all the way back to Little Rock and the Rose Law Firm, where they were involved in all kinds of scandals and money-making schemes and madness. And of course, Bill Clinton got a $500,000 fee for a speech that he gave in Moscow with his Russian Moscow Kremlin friends, and that was all considered to be perfectly normal by the New York Times and CNN. They didn't see anything curious here. Kind of like the Biden family and all of their money flowing in.
It reminds me of, and around the time I worked at Breitbart, and I remember Peter Schweitzer came out with his book, Clinton Cash. I think it was during the 2016 election where I think, Jimmy, maybe you remember this. There was the story, I think it was the New York Times actually picked it up, and it was about the Ukraine. It had to do with Ukraine and the money that flew from Ukraine to the Clinton Foundation. If you read his book, it is quite interesting how he follows the money, and it seems like every time there's a big donation, all of a sudden Bill Clinton would be getting on a plane and going to some country and making a speech.
And I think we can't forget what happened with Haiti too, the large investment that the foundation put in Haiti. Well, that money ended up going nowhere. Right. We don't know where it went. So I think, when you look at this.
To the cannibals, of course.
To the cannibals. Yeah. It's a shame because when you look at this, there are over 1 million foundations in this country that are doing really good work. And it takes one, the Clinton Foundation, to really ruin it for everyone. But I think if you're sitting at home questioning whether you think this is true or not, there's a lot of documented history of kind of the corruption that has followed this famous, very famous couple.
That's a fact. That is a fact. And it's been well established. And the Schweitzer book was sort of the gold standard because he committed journalism there. And,
it was great investigative
and told the
reporting.
truth. It was great investigative reporting.
And then one guy's all, well, there's millions of foundations that are, no, they're not. There may be a handful, there may be a few hundred, maybe a few thousand, but there's not millions. Most of these foundations are slush funds designed to shield millions and billions of dollars from the government taxation. You see, remember I was talking played a video earlier in the week about how rich people don't pay taxes. Well, this is one of the ways they don't pay taxes. This is standard operating procedure for ministries. Is everything is owned by the ministry. There's ministers that go around, and I'm only picking on the ministers. The politicians do it too. This is what Bill Gates does. This is what his stuff's all about. There's ministers that say, I serve God and God alone. I only get $40,000 a year to live on because all the rest goes into my ministry. Yeah. The house he lives in, the $57 million mansion on the ocean in the it burnt down. It was in the Palisades. But before then, I'm making this up, by the way. This is fictitious. In Malibu, let's say your $57 million mansion, palatial mansion in Malibu, that's the parsonage owned by the church. And your Mercedes and your Bentley and your Maybach, well, those are owned by the church. And your $7,000 shoes and $25,000 suits, those are owned by the church. And all of your plates and saucers and cups and furnishings and all the stuff inside the house is owned by the church. And your corporate jet is owned by the church. And when you take your lavish vacations to places around the world that only the rich people get to go to, well, those are paid for by the church. And when you write your book and you get the $2.5 million advance, well, it goes to the church. So you have to pay any income tax on it. That's what they do. That's the way it works. Everything's owned by the church, which is owned by you. But it gets you out of paying taxes. See, the rich don't pay taxes. But see, all of you all will agree with me on that. But when I start talking about some of the other organizations that are out there, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, you take a look at all these NGOs funded by Soros, they're all designed not to have to pay taxes. You know who pays the taxes? You, sucker. You pay the taxes. That's right. You pay the taxes. It's on
Introducing the Democrat.
Yeah. Already paid that. The Epstein hoax is collapsing. It is collapsing around himself. Didn't last very long. It was a distraction designed to keep you from looking at how bad the Democrats did, and it failed.
Of the Rufo and Lomez podcast. All right, Chris, what does your gut tell you about what's going on here?
Look, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein is an increasingly and enormously powerful man, even in death. He is like a human hand grenade, and both sides, both camps, keep trying to toss him onto the other side and hoping that it explodes. But again and again, the evidence suggests that while Trump did know Epstein, he did party with Epstein on occasion, he wasn't involved in any of Epstein's crimes. And in fact, when he figured out what was going on, he banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club and resort. And so the president, I think, had successfully established boundaries, and the Dems are just trying to agitate against him and trying to use whatever bits and pieces from these documents to get the president. But look, the president has been through a lot. He's been indicted. He's been arrested. He's been mugshotted. He's been shot through the ear. A couple of misrepresented snippets from these emails is not going to result in much.
How do you think the Republican Party is handling the Epstein situation?
I think the Republican Party, in part, has taken the bait, and there's this scrambling about the various bills and the court hearings. It's so convoluted. It's given the Democrats an opportunity to demagogue against it. But I think overall, the best policy is one of transparency. The more documents can be revealed, the maximum amount the courts can let loose to the public, I think that's better. And I think the evidence should, wherever it falls, it falls. The evidence thus far suggests that Trump had no involvement in the Epstein crimes. But I think certainly some very powerful people from all political persuasions and business and politics and academia and science are trying to keep these documents out of the public eye because, look, some very powerful and very well-known people were doing some very naughty things.
Yep, that's what it appears to be, too. All right, Chris, great work. Thank you.
Some very powerful people were doing some very naughty things. You so naughty. And the Epstein stuff is just the tip of the iceberg. And here's the other, this is it, right? Here's the secret. Fetterman said the other day that they've sat on these emails for 4 years. They've had the Congress, Republicans and Democrats have had these emails for 4 years. They released them the other day for political reasons. Here's John McCain's wife, Cindy McCain. How many of you remember this video?
It hides in plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him. All of a sudden, someone said, BS. We're not afraid of you anymore, and what you're doing is not only wrong, it's illegal, it's, all those things. It's like a house of cards now. It's going to start tumbling, believe me. And these guys, if they don't leave the country, number one, they're going to get caught, and they're going and they not only will they get caught, but they're going to be made examples of. And that's exactly what we should be doing with these guys, especially.
We've all known all along what he was, who he was doing, how come you knew? I'll tell you how come she knew, because her husband. Shouldn't pick on the dead guy. Candace Owens should learn that. They've all knew. They all knew. Every one of them. The Democrats put this out yesterday and then deleted it right away. New Democrats show Donald Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. At the time, Trump already president, and Epstein was already a convicted sex offender. And then they took it down. You know why they took it down? Because they're dumb. Democrats just deleted a tweet claiming Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. Democrats say Trump spent Thanksgiving with Epstein while in office, except here's where Trump actually spent. Do you remember it? I remember it. How many of y'all remember that Thanksgiving 2017? You remember the media firestorm? Where's Donald Trump? Where's Donald Trump? Donald Trump's not at work. Donald Trump's not at the White House. Donald Trump's not down at Mar-a-Lago. Where's Donald Trump? Oh my God, where's Donald Trump? What's going on? Oh my God, Donald Trump, stop playing golf when people are dying at war. Oh. And then all of a sudden the White House releases that Donald Trump got on a plane and snuck on over to Iraq or Afghanistan, I don't remember which, and spent Thanksgiving with the troops. And they all had egg on their face. The walls are closing in. You remember that? Because I remember it. I remembered it. You see, this is a learning experience about frauds and lies. When people are vague about their evidence. Candace Owens. I have insider information, secret, top secret. I was visited by Charlie Kirk in a dream, and he told me all about it. It's because they can't be specific. Because if you are specific, you can. 2017 was Iraq. Okay, I don't remember where he was, but I just remember that it happened. You can't be specific because when you start getting specific, the more specific you get in your claim, if it's not true, it's easier and easier to debunk, just like what happened to the Democrats right here. Boom. Donald Trump was here, not here. Could it be that Epstein was a piece of crap, money-grubbing, grifting liar? I mean, it's possible. E. Jean Carroll case is another perfect example of Donald Trump was convicted of fondling E. Jean Carroll sometime between 1990 and 2000, somewhere around the was it I don't remember the name of the department store, the big fancy department store there on Fifth Avenue. She doesn't remember what day, she doesn't remember what year. She kind of sort of remembers which side she was on in the women's only department. Do you know why she can't remember what day and she can't remember what year? Because Donald Trump, being a multi-billionaire builder who travels the world, has executive secretaries that, right, everything, his itinerary, everything gets written down, and there's a record of it. Donald Trump can pick up his phone, or Donald Trump can say to his executive secretary, hey, call the other executive at the towers in New York. Get him to pull the record on where I was on February 14th, 1995, when E. Jean Carroll says that I fondled her. Where was I that day? At 11:52 p.m. or whatever a.m., whatever time. And they go, okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, sir, you were in Ireland at the groundbreaking of your golf course. Everything's written down for a guy like Trump. I mean, you and I in our lives where things don't matter because we're nobodies, not so much. Although, I've got 5, almost 6 years of recordings of my words and where I'm at. That's why they can't that's why they have to be vague about this stuff, because the closer you get, the Democrats got shot down right there. Democrats shot down right there. You know, this is a good one. It's small, but it's a good one. It says, that face you make when you hear Democrats calling to release the Epstein files. Oh, by the way, Epstein lies. Epstein said that Bill Clinton has never been to the aisle. Not Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was never taken. No, Bill Clinton. No, not Bill Clinton. Here's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, king of the wild frontier, talking about the Epstein.
Sure that the Department of Justice didn't have this information, and if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information? Do we know that there was a thorough investigation? Do we know whether or not the investigation had concluded? These are all questions that we need answers to, but we can't get them when you're not cooperating. So we don't know what the DOJ has, nor what it is that the DOJ potentially was trying to do. Considering that the president right now is trying to obstruct on some very basics of, let's just get a subpoena that says release all the information, I wouldn't be surprised, just like he obstructed the prosecution of one of his henchmen who took $50,000 in taxpayer dollars from undercover officers. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. Epstein's dead. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No, that's the whole point. I have no information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile himself, or a person who obviously is covering for pedophiles, that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
We don't know what they have. We don't know what the DOJ has in their files. Let me say this. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, maybe Cory Booker, stinging off the top of my head, Rashid Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, doo-doo-be-doo-doo. They're probably not involved in the Epstein in any way. They're too young. They didn't get hung up in that. But the old guard did. But her sitting there going, we don't know, is a true statement among true statements. They don't know what's in those files. There's a reason why Gasoline Maxwell, whatever her name is, was shipped over to the Club Fed in Texas, where she can live out the rest of her sentence in relative luxury. Because she gave 100 names. 100 names. You know, we have a war going on between the deep state and the megas. And it's hard to tell who is who. These HB1 or H1B visas, they're a big deal right now. Everybody's going talking about them. What Donald Trump did with the H-1B visas is he's made 2 points. He's done 2 things that is very important to understand. First of all, H-1B visas are legal immigrants, not illegal immigrants. They're legally come here. He made the bar much higher to get them in and much more costly. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. And the idea behind that is we need this. Of course, everybody's all upset. The knee-jerkers are knee-jerking, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that Donald Trump said that workers are dumb. Well, the truth is, our institutions in this country, you know, it's been said that if a foreign adversary did in our schools what we did to ourselves, it's H-1B, not HB1. What we did to ourselves, yeah, some visa holders make that sound as true, would be an act of war. It'd be an act of war. Before I get to the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, let me just show you. Well, I showed you Jasmine Crockett. Let me see. I know I got him here. Right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the Canadian. She's actually smart. This is this woman right here. Here we go. This is a Democrat woman. This is an educated. This is an educated, American educated person. This is supposed to be the smartest people on the planet. They went to the education. They got all the stuff. They even got the neck tattoos to show it. Listen.
The amount of white people that dare to tell me that there is no reason for white people to feel guilty because they weren't directly involved with slavery, when every single one of them, especially the ones.
Okay, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right here. Can anybody name for me right now a white person in the United States of America that isn't involved in human trafficking of children that's directly involved in slavery? I'll wait. Do 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 boom. Do doom, doom, boom, boom. Anybody got the answer? Anybody got a white person in the United States of America that's directly involved in slavery that's not involved in human trafficking? You know, like Joe Biden, who lost 300,000 children. Nobody is alive today that was a slave or a slave owner. Nobody. They're all D-E-A-D, dead. Nobody. This woman is highly educated. I guarantee she's got more degrees than I do, which is a pretty low bar.
Dare to tell me that there is no reason for white people to feel guilty because they weren't directly involved with slavery, when every single one of them, especially the ones who dare to comment some dumbass shit like that on my posts, just proves how racist you actually are. All of the people that think that they're not a part of it, that don't contribute, are much bigger contributors than someone that openly speaks about feeling empathy for others and feeling guilt as a white person in America who has contributed to systemic racism just by being born into the system. It's not something that I asked for. It's something that I became aware.
You see, they're not taught logic. They're not taught thinking. She went from slavery to systemic racism, which are two entirely different things. By the way, there are actually systemic racists in this country. 100% racist in this country. All those people right now screaming, the Jews did it, are racists. By definition. You may agree with them, doesn't change it. Anybody who believes in DEI is a racist because they judge people by the color of their skin. You poor black person, you're incapable of getting an ID to vote because you're just dumb. And we have to do it for you. You poor brown or black-skinned person, we have to subsidize you. And we have to give you food stamps. And we have to make sure that we got a nice place for you to live in the ghetto so you're not on the street because you're too stupid to do it otherwise. You're racist. And this woman right here is a racist because she assumes because you have brown and or black skin, you're a slave. She's probably more closer to be a slave than you are.
All the people that come on here and say that white people don't have a reason to feel guilty, I mean, all you're doing is snitching on yourself.
I do not feel
Because you're
guilty
way
about
more racist than you actually think. Because otherwise you wouldn't be commenting stuff like that. You wouldn't be taking time out of your day to comment on my post. You trying to convince yourself that you don't contribute. You trying to convince yourself that you're not part of the problem. But honey, you are the problem. Because the sooner that every white person can take a deep look at themselves, take a deep look at those around them, then things can start to get better. But until then, you know, every white person that says that they don't have a reason to feel guilty, you're just ignorant. Time to open your eyes.
She's ignorant. She's overly educated, ignorant. She's not educated. She's not educated at all. She's propagandized. So the question that I have, how is someone like that? How is someone like that going to do high-end advanced rocketry, rocket science, rocket surgery, as one would say, for Blue Origin or Elon Musk? Here's another example of geniusness that's taught in schools today.
I'm going to use the locker room I want to. You should use the locker room you want to. We're together not going to stare at other people's junk because we're not creeps. Okay? If you have a creep in the bathroom, report them.
If you have well, sir, if you're in the bathroom with my daughter, I won't be reporting it. You might be reporting it. The question that you'll have to have is, as you pull your teeth out of the sink that I slammed your face into, will you be able to report it? Because there's a creep in the bathroom, all right. Make that clear enough for you, pervert. And that's the truth. So now let's get to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She wants to get rid of H-1B visas, but there's a need right now because our education system is so screwed up. Do I believe that we need to H-1B a bunch of people from India so they can be in call centers, so they can run an AI through there, so it will sound like, hello, my name is Bob. How can I help you? When it's really, hello, my name is Bob. May I help you into the 7-Eleven? We don't need that kind of stuff, but we do need educated people that know advanced science, engineering, that kind of stuff, doctors, because we don't teach our crumb crunchers to do that anymore. We teach them to vote Democrat and collect welfare payments.
My dear fellow Americans, I'm introducing a bill to completely eliminate the H-1B visa program, which has been riddled with fraud and abuse and has been displacing American workers for decades. There will only be one exemption in my bill, and it will allow for a $10,000 per year cap on visas issued to medical professionals like doctors and nurses who provide life-saving care to Americans. However, even this $10,000 per year cap will be phased out over 10 years to allow us time to build our own pipeline of American doctors and physicians. My bill will also restore the original intent of the visa, for it to be temporary. These visas were intended to fulfill a specialty occupational need at a given time. People should not be allowed to come and live here forever. We thank them for their expertise, but we also wish them well so they may return to their home country. My bill will take away the pathway to citizenship, forcing visa holders to return home when their visa expires. In order to build our pipeline of American doctors and medical professionals, my bill will also prohibit Medicare-funded residency programs from admitting non-citizen medical students into their programs. Just last year alone, there were over 9,000 doctors in the U.S. who graduated from medical school but were left without a residency placement. Meanwhile, in 2023 alone, there were over 5,000 foreign-born doctors who received residency spots. This is entirely unfair, and it's America last. My bill will help mitigate the shortage of doctors and nurses in our country, the shortage that we face, while at the same time serve as an off-ramp from our reliance on foreign workers by allowing us time to fill our residency programs with American doctors. Now, this will completely end the H-1B visa program in all other sectors in the job force and in the workforce. This is America first. It's time to put American citizens first instead of foreigners first. And this has gone on, and this has been an abuse for far too long. Americans deserve a future. They deserve a chance. And I believe Americans are the most talented people in the world, the most creative, and I want them to have their American dream. Thank you.
So Donald Trump has made moves to fix the H-1B visa, and she's trying to steal the thunder. If Donald Trump wasn't talking about the H-1B visa, she wouldn't be talking about the H-1B visa. And that's the truth of the matter. And I don't have a problem with people coming over here that are the best of the best. That's what we want. We want the best and the brightest over here. That's what we want. I mean, that's what America's about. People could come here from other places and build their dreams. So I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to it. But it just seems to me a little disingenuous since she had nothing to say about this for years. Now all of a sudden, it's an important deal. It's just weird. Just entirely weird. So Jonathan Turley on the McCleaver, Melonica, or whatever her name is, McCleaver. A federal judge just rejected Representative McCleaver's motion to dismiss, despite many who insisted that the indictment was invalid and the underlying conduct protected. Judge Jamiel Simper ruled that her actions were wholly disconnected from any oversight function as a member of Congress. The ruling rejects the prior claim of Democratic members that have the right to enter any ICE facility at any time as a matter of oversight, the view that some of us previously challenged. Judge Jamal Simper, or I guess it would be Seeper, I don't know, is a Biden appointee who previously served on as a federal prosecutor. The ruling is clearly correct, and while Representative McCleaver may appeal, it is doubtful that she'll be able to ultimately prevail in this extreme argument echoed by Democratic members and pundits that don't want kings. Right? Is that it? We're no kings unless you're my Democratic politician. You can say and do anything you want with nothing, no recourse. You're free to do whatever you want. No kings. Now this is the story I had about James. I had the whole story written out, and it's not there. But so this right here is this is what she disclosed. Okay. On her Pyrenees Avenue, how do you say it? Pyrenees, whatever. Avenue property was a federal mortgage of $150,000 to $250,000, national mortgage of $100,000 and $150,000. The mortgage was actually $109,000. And on her Sterling Street property, this is the disclosures as part of her job. Never disclosed. She purchased it in 2023 for $219,000 mortgage. 5 years of false disclosures fed electronically under penalty of perjury. Okay. It says breaking. Federal prosecutors subpoenaed Loretta James' financial disclosures from New York State. 5 years of records due December 5th to build a superseding charges for wire fraud, false statement, and RICO. Here's why. The current indictment charges 2 counts of bank fraud on the Norfolk mortgage, but she lied about her other mortgages. So there's more coming out of that. There's more coming out of that. See, this stuff, there's just more after more after more after more. Yeah, that dude Fontes or whatever his name is, he's a racist, bigoted butthole. He is a patriot insurgent. He's a patriot insurgent. He is designed intentionally to cause disruption within the mega party, within the Patriot group, within us. That's what these provocateurs are. Not true believers in mega. They're not true believers in Donald Trump. They are infiltrators. They are put into position in order to cause problems so that the Democrats, when they're running their campaigns this year, can go, mega is racist. Mega is racist. Look at that guy. Look what he said. Mega is racist. Mega is racist. Mega is racist. Mega is racist. Did you see the guy running for New York's 12th district? Did you see that guy? He is the grandson of JFK. Did you see him? This guy right here.
Newsflash, Republicans are lying. They say the Democrats shut down the government. Not true. They did. Why? So they can protect private health insurance profit margin. The Democrats are standing up for the American people and making sure that your healthcare costs don't go up, which they will.
Doge and the White House shut down the JFK library. JD, cut it out. Stop that. JD, you're making me nervous. This administration believes that birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. Hey, Andrew, I just want to come out in a really super respectful way and say debate me on anything I won't study. Why is Indiana the best state in America, and what is your favorite snack? Yo, Schlossberg, stirring the pot again, brother. I love it. Getting everybody riled up, stirring that pot. You stir the pot, you must be doing something right. Hey, JD, it's me and my new friend. I named him JD after you, his dad. JD, I'm at the Reproductive Rights Freedom Bus, and everyone here, they like reproductive freedoms, JD, but you don't. Hi, I'm Jack. I'm here where it all began. Boston Harbor, home of the first protest in American history against tariffs. Want to hear a dirty little secret? Don't tell anyone, but Republicans are trying to take away the right to vote from millions of people. The question was, how do you spell labor? That's Harris. Labor. The power to spend money, write taxes, regulate interstate commerce, declare war, and all major legislation begins where? The House of Representatives. With control of Congress, there's nothing we can't do. Without it, we're helpless to a third term. My name is Jack Schlossberg, and I'm running for Congress to represent my home, New York's 12th Congressional District.
Yep, he's running for Congress. But
Love
that's
you.
not what I wanted to show you.
Yo.
I wanted to show you this. This is him. Remember? They're going to be screaming that mega Republicans are little Fuentes running around being Nazis and discriminators and hating. This is a Democrat.
Yo, check this out. Yo, check this out. Yo, check this out.
What's that make him? Huh? Nothing but a bunch of little racists.
Love you all.
Racist and communist. Here's Liz Warren.
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire?
Ooh, right question. So I'll tell you one thing. There is nobody in this country who got rich on their own. Nobody. Here's how I see it. If you had a good idea, you worked hard, you made it big, good for you. But I want to be clear. You moved your goods to market on roads that all of us paid for. You hired workers that all of us paid to educate. You were safe in your office building or your factory because of police forces and firefighters all of us paid for. So yeah, you started a company that's done terrific. God bless, keep a big hunk of it. But you also have to chip in so that the next kid gets a chance to succeed just like you did. And I'm not asking for much. All I'm saying is that it's not fair for a Boston public school teacher to pay a higher tax rate than Jeff Bezos. So here's my idea. Instead of giving the top 1% of Americans a big fat tax handout, we should make sure those people pay their fair share and then invest that money into lowering costs for working families. That's what this fight is all about. And I'm in it all the way.
Tax the millionaires and the billionaires. Why are you a billion? Why are we allowed to have billionaires? Well, if we don't allow the billionaires, and pretty soon it will be, we got to tax the millionaires and the trillionaires. If we're not allowed to have billionaires, we won't have millionaires. If we don't have millionaires, we won't have 100,000 heirs. If we don't have 100,000 heirs, we won't have 10,000 heirs. And the other thing that the lying little piece of crap, because she knows this, by the way. You know how I know she knows this? Because she's a millionaire and she sets her finances up so she doesn't pay any taxes either. But the millionaires and the billionaires don't pay taxes. Because I already discussed that. We need to help the teachers. No, you're going to tax the living hell out of the teachers. You want to know who helped the teachers? Well, actually, probably not, because they're all salary-based. But you want to know who helped the workers? Donald Trump. No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. Well, that's another one of the things I wanted to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene, too. How do you know a Marxist when you see one? Government's the solution. She says she wants to get rid of H-1B visa, and then she talks about how she's going to use the H-1B visa and how she's going to regulate it differently. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, we can solve this problem with the H-1B visa with government. I will go with get rid of the visa. I like the idea better that we put a big charge on it and make it expensive so only the good ones come. Oh yeah, no tax on Social Security. But the Republicans, let me say this slowly for the people in the back. The Republicans put limits on it because somebody had to pay for it. You idiots spent $8 trillion fiscal year 2025. And you're saying somebody has to pay for it? You don't give a damn about somebody paying for anything, ever. You are the problem. 100% you are the problem. A couple other posts I've been dancing around here that I want to get to. Let's see. This one right here. This one right here. So let me get this straight. With the release of Epstein's emails, we found out that Epstein hated Trump, didn't trust him. They weren't friends. The New York Times directly worked with Epstein to suppress stories about him. Wonder why. After Bradley Edwards, the lawyer for the accusers, said that Trump was the only individual to cooperate with him, Epstein said that Trump didn't have one decent cell in his body. This was so compelling that the Democrats faked the redaction of a supposed victim's name. The name they blocked was Virginia Greffel, how you say her name, who publicly testified that Trump was innocent. Oh, and also Russiagate was confirmed a hoax, just like we said. The Democrats are retarded. The Democrats are retarded. And that's a good point. You can't say retarded. You can't say retarded. Blah. You need to grow a pair. You need to get a little thicker skin. You know, my ex-wife worked for an organization that helped people with mental disabilities in our community. And she would come home and tell me that they changed the name of the people. They were consultants, they were customers, they were employees, they were they kept changing the name because they were retarded. And you see, if you take an individual who is slower in understanding and doing things than someone else, the word retarded, especially as a musician, literally means slowed. How many people are mechanics and retard the motor, right? In music, retard means to slow the music down to count. So your counts like this, you retard the music and it slows down. That's what the word means. And a rose by any other name still smells the same. So when you start calling it something else, they're disabled, means retarded. They're crippled, means retarded. They're unadvantaged, means retarded. Whatever you name them will end up meaning what they are. So just call them what they are. Not me, Mike. I special needs my engine. Exactly. Your engine needs special needs. That's the problem with our society. They just call things as they are. It's not a negative word if it's not meant negatively. Some of those people are the best people on earth. Have you ever met a guy with Down syndrome that was unhappy? I mean, sure, they have their moments, but I mean, in general, those are usually some of the nicest people you ever met in your life. I'm just saying. They're happy to be there. They're happy to be involved. They're happy to be everywhere. Some of us could use some retardation. I'm just saying. We used to be able to joke about that. You remember in Living Color? We used to be able to joke about these sort of things, but we can't do it anymore. We can't do it. We can't make fun of ourselves anymore. It's ridiculous. By the way, so a judge in Chicago has ruled that ICE needs to release all the people that they've arrested, all the illegals that they've arrested, and release them immediately. Well, ICE has responded, and this is what they have to say to the judge.
What's important here to realize is that Border Patrol agents, ICE agents, and those allied law enforcement teams risked their lives to apprehend those 650 illegal aliens that judge wants to release on the streets. Those illegal aliens came from a myriad of situations, whether they were criminals or individuals that were taking jobs from Americans. You name it, that's what they were doing. And I'll tell you what's going to happen is we're going to go even harder on the streets. If he releases those 650, we're going to apprehend 1,650 on the streets of Chicago.
Basically, nice judgment you have there, sir. Let me see you enforce it. The judge has no authority. The Supreme Court's already ruled. The judge has no authority. These judges have no authority to enforce anything on the executive branch. They've already ruled, and I hope they crack down on it. And by the way, the old guard Democrats, Republicans too, they're finished. Nancy Pelosi's retiring, and there's a reason she's retiring. Here's Nancy Pelosi.
Any questions on the subject for our colleagues? Where? See? Yes, sir. There. I thought I saw someone over there. No? No questions on the subject? No. Yes, okay.
Hello, do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Anybody got any questions? We got a Q&A here, and we need you to ask questions. And do you have any? Is there any questions? Anyone? Any question? Anyone? Questions? Can I get questions? Yeah. Questions. I'm going to end with this. It's time. Let me just say this. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Check it out. This right here. 10 pounds. I've lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks taking this product right here. This is the chocolate raspberry Snow Slim. It's on sale. They had a sale. They were giving away free nitro or coffee with the purchase. and save you some money. The other thing was about this sale. It's a doorbuster Black Friday sale. Started earlier in the week. It's a 72-hour sale. Ended last night. The thing is about the sale, if you lock it in at this price, you get these products for that price. If you lock it in, auto ship, as long as you keep the auto ship, it will always be that price. That's a pretty good deal. So here's the thing. By the way, with some of these other companies, they lock you in and you're stuck, right? So they give you 2 bottles. There's a deal with 2 bottles, free shipping, throw some other stuff in. Like, well, I can't use it's a month's supply, so that I don't need that every month. Well, you can set it up auto shipped every 2 months. See where we're going with this? Anyways, they've extended that deal through the weekend, all the way through Monday. They've extended that deal. You can still lock it in. You can still, so if you're already buying it, you can still lock in that price indefinitely if it's on auto ship. But the deal only extends while supplies last, and supplies are running out. They have sold a lot of they've sold a lot of this stuff. It's been fantastic, and thank you for everybody who went out and bought some. I appreciate it. Marine says the Grape Nitro is awesome. Everybody likes the Grape Nitro. Now's the time, ladies and gentlemen. Now's the time. The economy is about to go, and you might need an extra few bucks, and I can show you how to get an extra few bucks if you're willing to learn. If you're willing to learn. So, anyways, can diabetes? Yes, there's no sugar in it. Of course, always, if you have some sort of talk to your doctor, but there's no sugar in it. It's no sweetener, no nothing like that. If you want to see what's in it, send me a message to 660-620-2644 or an email to PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com, or just message me on Facebook, and I will share with you the information. I'll tag you in a couple informational videos, and then I'll send you the link where you can go look and see exactly what's in it. And if you need help finding that, I'll walk you through it. Anyways, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to put that out there one more time. So here is Donald Trump. I'm going to end with this. Here is Donald Trump in the Oval Office. They had a wingding yesterday where he signed some executive orders and did some stuff about foster parents, to help support foster parents. A lot of stuff's on my Telegram page. Go check that out. But anyways, he has these kids in the Oval Office, and this is Donald Trump just being a grandpa, basically. So we're gonna play this video and we'll call it a day.
As for you, you want it, or you don't have to have it? Would you like it? She's smart. She said yes. So cute. You want one, honey? You want one, too? Look at him. Oh, he's got a lot of Italian blood in him. Yes, for you.
Well, you must say what your name is.
My name is Donald. Okay, do you want a pen? Want a pen? 1, 2, 3,